What do they say? We'd love to talk politics, so come back when you know something about it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so Zoom says we're streaming. I'm assuming we're streaming, so welcome to Worldwide Slot Car Chat on Zoom, number whatever. Let's talk slot cars. Anybody got any show and tell they want to share? There we go. We got hands up. Go ahead, Mr. Kit.
Well, hello everyone. Well, as you may or may not know, this coming weekend we're actually running a proxy race here at my little scale car garage. So I unboxed the cars. First, I should mention that we originally had 6 entries and 2 unfortunately dropped out, so we're down to 4. But I thought I would show those 4 entries in the order that they were received, so you guys can take a look at these beautiful builds.
I'm guaranteed a top 5 spot.
Absolutely. So here is the build from the Netherlands. This is from Frank Peter van der Goor. And he's done just a lovely, lovely job on the car. It's just really, really nice. And if it was a beauty contest, be easy. Sorry about my thumb there. I got excited. I wanted to take these pictures before our chat, but you can see the detail even in the dials that he did, the steering wheel, just lovely stuff. The door handles, just beautiful work. And there's the front. And then we have somebody who's actually here, and I'm glad you're here because here is Courtney's car. Now, apart from, the driver looking like, one of the Ramones, that's okay. No,
The car looks like it's built for speed.
It is, as Courtney has said many times, he builds race cars. And this looks like a race car. This looks like something, honestly, that would have been raced in the early 60s, mid 60s, because it was an old car. They found it in a barn, slapped some half decent tires on it, and away they went. And there's
Looks like you could have made some numbers up out of masking tape or something like that to really get into the
vibe. Yeah, exactly.
Spirit, really into the spirit of it.
Yeah, it's a great
or painted on with a whitewash brush,
Yeah,
you're right. That's what I should have done. A barn brush.
Yeah, it looks good though. Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Now this is from James Rollins, and he's this is almost Frank Peter level build here, folks. He's got those great outlaw wheels and tires. I mean, 2 of the 4 entries actually put decals on the tires. Is that cool or what?
But Goodyear on a Porsche? I would
have there you go, eh?
Continentals.
Well, back in the day.
Well, you used
Michelin.
Or Michelin's maybe.
Michelin's. Yeah, maybe, yeah. Anyway. But it's a lovely, and look at the decals he added in addition to the provided venting. Isn't that nice? And those pipes, oh my gosh. Just awesome. And a 2-tone as well. It's a lovely build. And then his interior is just as nice as Frank Peters.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely stuff. I love the distressed seats. I think that looks great. And of course, a decal of venting on the front. Lovely stuff. And here is our friend Neil. It's a pity Neil didn't make it on the broadcast today. And this is nice. Neil's car. It is nice. Neil did a great job. Look at that. He even got the wheels to match the body color. Just lovely. So it's really, these are great builds in the spirit of the event, and I'm really looking forward to taking them around the track.
Do you have any pictures of the chassis?
You got to watch the video.
Oh, well, that's okay.
It's a teaser.
But it's not out yet.
Well, no. So what'll happen is, I've got free practice 1, which is in the counterclockwise, and then free practice 2 is Saturday in the opposite direction, and then Sunday is the timing in both directions for both cars, and then a winner will be found. Now here is a question, and again, I'm glad Courtney's here because we originally had 6 people enter. We now have 4. And the prize structure, I mean, we still have a pool of, 4 times 40. So would you like me to take the dollars from the other, I guess, places that are no longer exist, those 2, and distribute it amongst the others? Or how would you like, any suggestions for that?
Yeah, I think that should go. I think that should go to the channel for you.
No, 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 no. I don't know. The whole idea is to whatever you
Right, but you're gonna do another one.
Oh yeah, but the other one's going to be for
Nobody's
real
in
money.
this.
Wait. My wife's already
Nobody's in
working the
this.
numbers.
Nobody's in this for money. So okay, so we donate it to Worldwide.
Well, yeah, but well, you know what? Honestly, it would help defer the cost of the entrance for their shipping. That's really what I'm really trying to help with.
Oh,
I
sure.
see.
And
Yeah,
Well, but you had
leave
shipping
it
in it.
there.
yeah. I had some skin in the game here. Yeah, sure.
So
But
I
but
mean, I don't
listen,
think
the reason I have shipping in is I'm the guy who gets to have all the fun driving.
I don't think you should lose any money at the deal. And I think if it would help you build or design a new car or a new something, I think that's money ahead. We can put it towards your daughter's school. She could buy a new mechanical pencil or something.
Okay, so I'll leave the prizes the way they are, and we'll take whatever
Well,
there is.
I'm only one of 6. It's your deal.
All right. Okay. Cool. We'll leave it the way it is. That's cool. That way, it cuts down on confusion. Cool. But again, I love the builds. I think I can't tell you how cool it is to see something that I was making out of into silicone molds, and you guys have made into kinetic art. It's brilliant. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, beautiful builds. Good stuff. Okay, any other questions for John? Moving on. Go ahead, Dennis.
All right, let me just change over to my other camera. I was going to show you this last week and forgot. But this is one of the new GP30 cars from Scale Auto. This particular one is the Auto Union Type D, the non-turbo, the non-supercharged version. What Scale Auto have done is they've created this whole class of cars. They have a new chassis, which is an aluminum plate with suspended pods front and rear, and then these 3D printed bodies. And they have, I think, 8 of them total, or there will be 8 of them total. There are 3 Auto Unions, a Type C, the regular, the normally aspirated Type D, and the supercharged Type D. Then there are 3 Mercedes. The W numbers I don't recall now. And then there are 2 Maseratis, being the 6CLT and the 6CM and the 4CLT. So this is the Auto Union. They all run the same mechanicals. They have a short can inline. The kit comes with, they come as a white kit. The kit comes with 3 different crown gears, and they come with foam tires front and rear. The wheel inserts on this one are my own because we didn't have any wheel inserts yet. There is a special Scale Auto wire wheel insert for the car. Those are still coming. They run beautifully. They are really smooth. They handle extremely well for what they are. And even on our track at Electric Dreams, with no spray glue or anything like that, they run very well. They have just a little bit of rear slide on the foam tires. The tires respond quite nicely to being cleaned with sticky tape. And so that's the first one up for today. We've got a couple of other updates. One being, I seem to remember showing this car off last week, the the slotted Orica that I had painted and now has a set of Tapatos decals on for the original presentation version. Difficult decals because they have this really fine detail of all these little printed circuit lines on them. And when he printed them for me, he printed them without any background, so they're difficult to cut out, but it came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the overall impression. It's one of John's 2020 cars, they look good from 20 feet. And then finally, for me, Scale Auto just brought out the M8 GTLM BMW. And so that got done up in my normal colors. Again, a white kit for now. I'm sure that they will have more later. Haven't run it yet. Looks really good. Looks like most of the new modern Scale Auto GT3 cars. Basically the same chassis and motor combination. So I'm pretty sure it'll run really nice. So that's me for now.
It looks like that's one of the R series. Is that correct?
That's an R series, yes.
We're currently having a debate in our club because the next series that we've nominated is Scale Auto Modern GT. And when I went to go look at possible cars, I saw that the exact same Bill Stein Mercedes is available as Home Series, R Series, and RS Series.
Yeah.
I've got the Home Series already, but it's like a Scalextric. So I had to look at the differences between R and RS, and they are significant.
Yeah, suspension mostly.
Suspension, lightweight interior, another 1.5K RPM motor, high magnetic downforce motor, metal wheels up front. That's most of it, but that means that basically there's a significant performance difference between the two. So now we're trying to work out which version of the cars was actually the one that we nominated and voted on.
Okay.
Because the person who did the nominating and when we were doing the voting, we didn't realize there were those two different versions and how different they were.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway.
Great looking car.
All right, guys. So that's me for now.
Hey, Dennis, what tires did the Auto Union come with?
The Auto Union comes with ProComp 3 foam tires on the back and what they call hard comp foam on the front. The really hard stuff with the blue stripe. And at the rear is ProComp.
Same as the ones we saw before with the prototypes?
Exactly the same as the prototypes. But as I say, they run really well. I've ridden it at Electric Dreams. I've driven it at Piranha on the flat track, which is a spray track. And there, I felt that with the spray glue on the track, the car was a little more tippy, but not bad. And at that point, I hadn't really adjusted the guide yet. The guide needed a couple of spaces to get it really deep. And of course, right now it's basically a plastic track guide. It doesn't even have a deep guide in it yet. But other than that, it ran really well. I've got the longest gearing for the highest top speed in it right now. I'll probably take that out for when I run it at home. Okay.
Alrighty, good stuff. Thank you, Dennis.
You're welcome.
Mike's got his hand up. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I've just a tell actually. First off, I've got the 963 Porsche. Two things that I've noticed when working on it. I changed out the motor to a slotted, the normal slim can.
Flat 6. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, flat 6. Couldn't think of it. And of course, I changed the pinion that was in there over from the Scale Auto motor. And of course, it's a press fit plastic one. And of course, it spun. So if you order one of these, you have to order the, I think it's, what is it, 7.5 millimeters wide gear on it. I got the ones from NSR, so do that. And also the other thing I had was interesting is that the original guide, this one, is wider, it seems, than most of the other guides that I have, and it actually stuck in the slot of the Scalextric track. And I only discovered that when I had a section, I put the car right near the start finish line and started it up, and I didn't start up, right off the bat really hard, and it stuck and stayed there for a couple seconds before it moved. And I ran it through there afterwards, and wow, that is a significant amount of friction. So anyway, I changed up the guide to my normal slotted one, or slotting plus one, and I've yet to try it, but it seems to be okay. So anyway, just a FYI for the pinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, plastic one didn't want to stay on tight
Right.
when you moved it.
And I think there was Larix did a review of it, and he mentioned the inconsistencies on it, which sounded just like the problem I was having, where the pinion would spin up and then catch. So, you come out of the corner, give it some gas, it would spin up, and then eventually it would catch up and work. And, you go, well, was there an electrical problem or what is it? Well, it turned out it's the pinion spinning on the shaft. So I got rid of the plastic pinion, and that's it.
But that was after you moved it from one motor to another.
Yeah, it was, but I did have the problem, if I remember correctly, with the original.
Oh.
So at any rate,
Yeah.
and like I said, he mentioned the inconsistent laps where he would have sometimes feel like he didn't have any power coming out of the corners, and I said, I bet it's the pinion spinning up. So
Something to watch out for then.
yeah, and it doesn't fit regular slotted pinions. You have to get the widest version, NSR version. I think it's 7.5, if I remember correctly,
Mm-hmm.
millimeters wide. In a 13, the original
Diameter.
Diameter, yes. So, okay, that's it.
All right. Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Okay, so this is kind of a club corner thing too. But anyway, guy in our club, his daughter works at a retirement home. Let's see, am I sharing this over here? So they pulled up, they went out for an outing for the day, and they went over to Terry's racetrack at his garage. And this is Terry here. I think that's maybe his daughter or his wife. But anyway, a lot of the retirees that hadn't really, raced in 30, 40 years got to come out and kind of spend the day racing. Terry has an oval, and then he has a road course up here. So that was just something kind of interesting and neat for me to see. Oh, did I get through let me see. So he had a thing here with people that, to come talk about how he did what he was doing here, and these retirees, letting them get a few laps in and such. Let's see, another older gentleman here. I don't know the names of these people, but I just knew that they were all at the retirement home. I just thought that was kind of cool and fun. He has a quick, let's see, video here.
Maybe they go faster if you point at the car.
Yep.
Maybe. So that was just kind of cool. I thought usually, like, you always try to get kids in, but you forget, like, sometimes the senior citizens are, they haven't seen a racetrack since in the 60s.
I just got to ask, is everyone there a member of the NRA?
I don't know. Probably. It's Iowa. If you're not, you're probably not. You're in the wrong state.
Yeah, you're not allowed to be in Iowa. That's part of it.
No, not without a license. So that was it. That's all I had to share. I just thought it was kind of cool.
That is cool.
If that was our track, we'd call those the young guys.
Oh.
I was going to say the same thing. It looks like a lot of slot car clubs.
Hey, I didn't want to call any of you guys out.
Yeah. No, I'm one of the young ones in my club.
Yeah, me too.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for sharing that. Anybody else got anything they want to show and or tell? Otherwise, we'll move along and talk about racing.
I wanted to mention something about the cars Dennis showed. And what we've seen in the recent past, the last several shows, is the trend for some of these really good manufacturers to kind of do throwback cars. You know, the old Corvette, these Formula One cars. And I know there's a Car Tricks and some of the other smaller, primarily Spanish companies, and occasionally Electric and Carrera will come out with something. But I think it's kind of interesting, and I hope it continues, where they are producing these really classic car models, really good stuff like that. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I think part of that trend, John, is because if you look at modern sedan racing cars, they're looking more and more like thingies. They're looking more and more like the slot cars of the 60s.
Right. You just barely recognize a Camaro or a Mustang. And they're
Yep.
racing those in lots of different series now. Of course, NASCAR's.
I think the other thing that happens too is that the old cars are much easier to do without all the problems of licensing.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
Are
That's
you sure people don't want to see another 911 out there? Because that I can't
Or a
believe
956 or a 962 for that matter.
Yeah.
if it were a classic 911. Yeah,
everybody makes a 911 house.
not the ones with giant wings and fenders and wheels and all that stuff so much. Anyway, and you know, there are lots of great British cars and Italian cars that haven't been touched pretty much, or not in a long time. So anyway, that's just a little thought on that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Oh, looking at YouTube, it looks like Wayne is posting over on YouTube. He says he thinks Dennis has a pre-production model and there will be rubber tires for those in the future.
Well, I don't know about that, but there may well be. But certainly right now, there's all on foam. I haven't checked that out.
Guess we'll find out.
And I haven't heard that, but it's possible.
All right, moving on to Club Corner. Anybody got any racing they want to talk about? Now's the time. Otherwise, we'll just open the floor and go ahead, Mike.
Well, in honor of Le Mans this past weekend, we, Mike and I, Shiggy didn't show again. He's still under the weather with his shaken brain problem. We had the 24 minutes of Le Mans, and I've got some pictures of the winners. Give me a second here. Come on. Oop, there's one. This was the last one, the Group C's we ended up with in the 80s. And Rat B managed to beat me on that one. We limited that one because he was getting kind of tired and didn't want to do any more 24 minutes. So we did 50 laps with those. And this was partially a test with the True Speed controllers after I had changed out the wire to the power base from the computer. And that seems to have taken care of our fault problem that we had. So it's, we'll see if it fixed itself, but it was pretty nice to run the cars without having to wait and have them lose control. So this was the third race of 50 laps. And this was the second race of the 70s. We had a slotted Matra and a Avant slot Mirage. And these were pretty close. We went back and forth quite a bit on these and had a good time with it. And then the first race we did 24 minutes of was 60. So we did classic Ford versus Ferrari, and similar to this weekend, Ferrari won. So it was a really close race. It seesawed back and forth. I had a couple of tenths in hand, so I gave myself a fuel load restriction as a result of it, and it moved back and forth quite a bit. While I was sitting in the pits, he went by me and got a couple laps on me, and then I had to drive like hell to make it up. Even though my car was faster, it was pretty close. I nipped him at the end, and only because he made a mistake. So it was a close run, but it was good fun. We had a great time, and hopefully my problem is fixed, and I can now run 6 cars with no sweat. And I've got both fingers crossed, and knock on wood, and all that kind of stuff to try and see if it works. So,
And
okay, that's
burn some herbs and
yeah, yeah. There you go. I'll burn some castor oil. That'll do it, right? Make the smell good, like the race cars used to.
yeah, good deal. I'll stop your share for you.
Oh,
And
thanks.
then, all right, Dewan, what would you like to share with us?
I was just finishing up my preparations. I think I'm about ready here.
We're in no rush.
Well, the preface for all this is that I've missed the last 3 races over at the Far Out Club due to personal issues, things like that. So this is my first time coming back to this past weekend on Saturday. It was the first time I had gone back in 3 races. And we're over at Richard's track. It's a little small, short 3-lane track, but it's really fun. And I'm going to try to bring up my, because I know that the performance goes down with all my windows that I have open here. And I have tons and tons of stuff open. So I was trying to manage, but let's see if I can bring this up real quick. And we had the 2 classes. We did the first class was the races sideways, group 5.
Just to make sure you know you're not sharing yet.
Nope, I'm not. I'm trying to get. I'm trying to create some fluff time while I get things together.
That's not a problem. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to navigate and talk at the same time, and actually, I can't chew gum and walk at the same time. So, okay, almost there. Oh boy. So yeah, we had races sideways as the first class.
Does Far Out have weekly races or bi-weekly or what?
Well, they're designated twice a month, but we're actually going to have 4 races in a row. We have some cancellations due to weather issues and things like that. So in general, they try to have it twice a month.
Trying to buy you some time, Dewan.
Yeah, thank you.
I have seen their page. They do have a Far Out website with all their tracks and rules. So that's pretty interesting.
Folder, come on, this got so many windows up. Everything's just so sluggish. I'm trying to do some desktop publishing work. If that's even considered a thing anymore. The corner and Richards. Any day now. Come on, come on.
I just think it's
Also,
great.
Electric Dreams has an interview with the owner of Far Out Club. If you haven't watched that interview, that's a really good interview.
Yeah, that is good. I was just going to compliment Dewan on having an Apple computer that was actually signed by Steve Jobs.
It rolled off the production in Cupertino, 1976.
Okay, I pressed the share screen button, but it hasn't popped up yet. That's sluggish, I'm telling you. All righty. That's the screen I'll go to. Share that, and I'll move it over so I can see what I'm doing. So, the first race.
Hang on.
There
you go.
Is it there now?
Yep, now you're sharing.
Okay. Oh, well, let me move it over. Darn it. Okay, well, I have to navigate this way. So the first heat, I don't have the, I didn't take a picture of my, this is just my results. And this one I had 41, 41 laps. This is the race to sideways. This is my third heat. And bigger. That's fine. Okay. And now I don't have my navigation buttons. This one.
Hmm.
Great. Okay. And so this was my crowning jewel. This is the first heat of the fly race, and you'll never guess what lane I was in.
Green.
I was in green.
Hey, well done. Well done.
So that's a very surprising. The story behind that is I had put out there that I wanted to get the fourth place winning car from the 66 Le Mans, well, whatever one that the GT40s went 1, 2, 3 in. And it was a 906, number 58 906 Porsche. And
Oh, it's a nice car and fly.
so anyway, I decided to go ahead and Michael Smalley, who was prominent in this club for many years, he heard about that and he gifted me that car, and it was highly tuned. It's the best tuned car I have in my fleet of cars. And so, with all that being said, this is the Fly Le Mans results, and you can see that.
Hey, beat Frank Sisto.
Yes, I beat a few people.
Nice.
Yeah, well done. Well,
And
listen, I'm sure, I hope you don't, obviously you're going to be missing the basement from now on.
yeah, we did get a new guy in the club, so that helped out. That helped move me up a little bit in the standings. So, but Tim Feener, he ended up winning this, and Eddie Shore was second. But this particular race for the fly cars, I think after the first heat, someone apparently was accused of putting too much braid juice on their car or oil in their car or whatever. They got on the track, and the traction was just absolutely horrible in the yellow lane. You can probably see that from some. It did improve significantly, but in the blue lane. So
Well,
the
I
green
was
lane
going to
was
say it was, yeah, looks like there was an advantage of the green lane in some way, shape, or form.
yes, the green lane was somewhat untouched, and that's where most of the tops things would come from. So, ironically, I was in the green lane during that time. I won my heat.
Consistency.
Not trying to diminish it, Eddie, but nonetheless, so we did have some issues like that. But so you see some big disparities, like Baba Hooley, 32 laps in that blue lane. Just, that's just atrocious. Yeah, but so anyway, just so yeah, Tim Fina won the fly race, and oops, why is that so small? There we go. And
So with that result, that must really bump you up in the overall standings, no?
well, I missed 3 races, so I think I was ranked 16th coming into the. I think it's they had me. Yeah, right next to you. See my ranking. It says I was 16th ranked coming in. Out of the 20 or so racers. That's only because I participate in so many races. It's not, based on, performance, but you earn points. So it's all based on points. So the more races you get into, the more points you get.
But it looks like two guys are ranked at number one.
Yes, they were tied. It came in exactly tied. Absolutely. Tom Geezy and Walt Baines. Yep. Exactly. They posted in our club Facebook page and site the current standings, and they were exactly on the for points exactly the same. That's it for our club. And then this weekend we'll be racing at Electric Dreams on the Cunningham track. We're going to be using the same Race to Sideways Group 5 cars, and The second class is Group C Slotted, which is I have another. That's probably my second best car. I acquired that car from the estate sale that Dennis was managing, and that car really is a new man um, livery, and it really hauls. I think that if anybody was driving my cars, they would be winning hands down. So those two cars. All right, that's it for me in the club
What-
corner.
Oh,
Way
sorry,
to
do
go,
want, so,
Devon. Kick it and
no, way
wick
to
it.
go.
Yep, good job.
So it looks like a lap was about 6 seconds or so. Is that what a lap was?
Yes. Good lap. Yeah. It's a very technical track, small track, technical, but yeah, you're looking at 5.5, 6 laps, 5.5 seconds, 6 second laps. Especially when they got the oil on the tires, it was 6.5 seconds lap.
Well, I was going to say that you were recreating a rain race again. That's what we talked about last week.
Yeah.
And something similar seemed to happen the other night at our race, where somebody their car was doing things that made him think there was something in the slot at a particular location on the track, and he thought he saw something, and we're like, running a screwdriver through the slot trying to get out whatever it was, but nothing came out. So I'm like, okay, well, got any canned air to try to spritz it out? And I was being very, very careful not to turn the can sideways or upside down and spritz the crap all over the place. So I was only spraying air, and it still seemed to mess up the traction in that turn. So we ended up doing something that we pretty much never do, and that's once we finished one rotation, because we usually do three full rotations of everybody through every lane. Once we finished one rotation, we allowed everybody to clean their tires again, which is pretty much never. You do your tires up front, and then you deal with it for the rest of the entire race. But that was so bad. And it was because of something that happened to the track to cause, it seemingly happened to the track to cause that. So
Right.
yeah, it was just weird.
That was up for debate too, for when they discovered those 2 lanes with the oil or whatever was causing. I mean, and it was clearly you was just fishtailing everywhere, and then
Yeah.
one lane was just going just fine, but everyone else just fishtailing. I mean, Eddie got 32 laps, and everyone else is doing 40, 41.
Yeah.
But we gotten three heats in. It was 14 heats that we were running, I think it was. And they sat there and debated on cleaning the whole track and starting the whole thing all over. And but I was on a bit of a timetable. I had need to get out of there. It was my daughter's birthday, and so I kind of voted not to do that. So everyone just had to just bite the bullet and ride those lanes.
Yep.
So,
Racing.
That's racing. Yeah. Yeah. So thanks for the report. Yeah. So we raced our second race of our NSR Classic Le Mans / Can-Am series on a wood track. It was a blast, except for the whole lack of traction at one point. I did not come in last, but I also did not get on the podium this time. Had a couple early offs, which is very damaging in a crash and burn type racing situation. Other than that, it was good time racing, but racing with the guys. It's a good time. All right, anybody else want to talk about club stuff? Racing, past, present, or future?
Oh, I got something more. One
Sure.
of the things that happened during one of the races that we had a fault, and it was the first fault that we'd had all night. And I went, what the heck is going on here? And it wouldn't go away. And after multiple times of going around the track and checking everything to make sure there wasn't a screw dropped off or something like that, I discovered that the open ring connector for the power supply had fallen off on one side. So it was like, it wasn't the other stuff. It was just something simple on the power supply. So it was much relief when I put it back on and everything worked fine.
And it was something simple.
Yeah, and it was something simple.
Yep. Okay, floor is open. Anything anybody wants to talk about? Ask about?
I know I had asked this question a couple of years ago when we were having a contest. I was hosting a big event here for one of my high school alumni associations. But I have a family reunion coming up now, and I'm just looking for some. What the suggestion was try to run a typical contest, or there's going to be fun and games. All these are amateurs. No one's ever, most of them never picked up a controller ever. So I was wondering if I can kick around some, or if you guys can kick around any ideas on how I should conduct the contest. The last time around, I think we had I had four different classic cars, and I let people sign up for each one for uniquely for a classic car. And we had a winner in each of those four classes. And then we came and had the four winners compete, switching the cars around so that everyone did racing and using a different classic car for the final round. But that was the format before. But I'm open for any kind of fun and friendly family suggestions for having a contest for out there.
I mean, I'm a big fan of last man standing races for when it's just a bunch of newbies. You can't keep the car on the track. Just say, okay, go slow, stay on as long as possible. If you crash, you're out of the race. The winner is the one who's still on and or crosses first after a small number of laps, like 5 laps or 10 laps. And turn the power down. And then as they get better, those races tend to be very quick, right? But then the girls learn quickly, the boys learn slowly, but eventually they all learn to just keep the car on the track. And then you say, okay, is everybody ready for me to turn the power up? And then you give them another volt or two, and then you do the same thing. Or at that point, you say, okay, well, now we're going to run real races. You still have to stay on the track, but now the point is to finish first among everybody who's still on the track, because they're going to stay on the track longer and longer, right? Because eventually they learn, and eventually there's no last man standing. At that point, it's who finishes first of the number of laps, and then you just kind of ramp things up. But that's more of a kind of a wing it method of keeping everybody happy and playing and busy. But doing a fully organized, thing like you're planning or that you did last time, that's just as good or better.
Well, I think I'd like that, especially for the practice sessions. The last month, not only practice sessions, but the preliminary rounds. Get kind of used to it. I'd like that.
Yeah, definitely do not marshal for people when they're learning how to drive. Right? If you don't say crash and burn, last man standing wins, then you say crash and dash, which is you put your controller down on the holder and you go around the track and you put it on your dang self.
Which is something I don't really want them to do for my fragile track. I'll try
but then definitely don't stand there putting them on as quickly as you can. Say, okay,
yes,
I'm gonna put your car on now.
And if you're serving alcohol, you can also have a handicap system, but that's a whole other discussion.
Doesn't work for the kids though.
Okay, yeah.
Anybody else got any ideas for him?
Have a sort of an orientation session for those that are interested, where you kind of show them the very, very basics and like how the thing works, where the electricity comes from, and that kind of stuff, and then graduate to a practice session or two, and then I think Greg's idea about the crash and burn
Yeah, I like that.
selection process.
Yeah, that's
Relegation
actually,
process
yeah,
is
when
good.
people come over, when people come over here, it's always crash and burn, and yeah, it's more fun that way too. And then, as long as, because you're probably better than most of those folks, as long as you don't get involved in the competition, it's a blast.
All right, cool.
Yeah, a driver's meeting is kind of a cool idea and kind of a fun. I mean, obviously, don't talk their ears off. Just say, these touch the rails, and the electricity goes in here and through the motor, makes the motor turn, comes back out, goes through the other rail. This is how you control the speed. The basics.
And also tell them that they can't be electrocuted touching the track. That's another big thing.
Yeah.
Like it's very safe. Like, you don't have to lick it to show them, but tell them that it's safe.
Well,
Hold
on
the finger
scale
down and then
extra,
lick it.
John, on scale extra, since it's AC, you do get a little bit if you get wet fingers.
For
Oh,
the-
on the digital, it's AC?
Yeah,
But
Ooh.
it's very low power.
it's
so,
low voltage. I mean, yeah, but still.
If you
So-
if you
so
have
you'll
if you have something that's conductive and you run your finger on both rails at the same time, you'll get a little, like, it feels like a 9-volt battery on the, when you do your tongue on the 9-volt to test
Wow.
it.
So who's the first one to donate one to a nudist colony then?
I'm going to stop inviting you.
Too much information.
Come up with the.
Yeah. All right. Well, if anybody thinks of anything else for Dewan,
Right.
don't hesitate to chime in and offer that up. But Dennis has his hand up. What would you like to
Yeah,
share?
I was just going to talk about the Club Corner about last Thursday at Electric Dreams. We ran the 10,000 lap celebration. It was Electric Dreams got to the point of getting 10,000 followers on Instagram, and decided that to celebrate that, we were going to do something. So what we did was we prepared a car that was used, and we got everybody who wanted to come around and drive laps on the plastic track, the polycar track, and we did 10,000 laps. They started at 5 a.m, and the 10,000th lap was completed just around 9:30 that evening. We had, I think, 42 different drivers, all doing, upwards of 100 to 200 laps each. Everybody got a little sticker, which I put on the back of my phone now, that says 10K. I did my laps, Electric Dreams, and I've got a second sticker in my box, but it came out pretty nice.
Cool.
The car that we used was a NSR Porsche 908-3, the one without the wings, painted black with the 10,000 on the front and so on. And we put on those red NSR tires. It used 2 pairs of tires, although I don't know that it was really necessary to change them. But Marco decided to change the tires about halfway through. Other than that, the car ran faultlessly all day. We had no other failure whatsoever. The braids were pretty dead by the end of the day, but it completed its 10,000 laps without any major problem. So that was Thursday, and then of course Sunday, being Father's Day, was the date for the regular Electric Dreams slot car swap meet. Well attended by the local people and their customers and so on, but not as well subscribed by sellers this year as it has been in the past. I don't think. We had probably about maybe a dozen tables. But there was some pretty nice stuff. There was a lot of secondhand stuff from the store. Marco's been buying up every now and then, buying up collections for people who've either passed on or have stopped and wanted to sell them. And so there were a lot of used cars available at really good prices. I mean, you could be getting into you know, there were slotted cars going for $35 and things like that. So you know, there were others for 10 and 15 and $20.
Any
So
any
there was a
real
lot of good stuff. I did okay. I sold quite a few bits and pieces, and but in general, it was a really nice, fun day. All the you know, a whole bunch of tents put up outside, the easy up tents, and the tables out there, and of course down there near the sea. It was sunshiny, but there was a nice cool breeze, and everybody had a ball. Both tracks were full of people and kids playing all day. There were handouts and prizes and so on. So in general, a lot of fun and good exposure for the hobby.
Yeah, I wish I was down there. That would have been cool.
Yeah, so that's what happened this weekend down here.
I noticed that Marco got the fastest lap on one of the last laps of the 10,000 too.
Oh, he was pounding it at the end, trying to
Yeah,
get that.
he was.
He put up a 4.1, I think, at the beginning of the day, and at the end of the day, he was pounding it, trying to get it, and he eventually got it. Yeah, yeah. I
Didn't
did
that car
I
have a
did
magnet?
150 laps about just at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Did them all with almost all of them with my left hand too, because the trigger in the controller that they were using was one of the Professor motor controllers and had a really stiff spring in it, and it just hurt my regular trigger finger to pull the damn thing, and I knew that I was going to go racing that night at Piranha, so I decided, you know what, I'm not overstressing this finger now. I'm going to use my left hand. I got down to within about 2/10 or 3/10 of a second of my regular times
That's pretty
using
good.
my left hand.
That's good.
But I wasn't as consistent.
I was
Anyway,
cheering.
then I went off to Piranha and I managed to beat everybody there last time. So that was fun too.
All right.
why didn't you have a report on that? That would have been great to.
Oh, okay. So I raced LMPs, the stamped steel 124 scale chassis that we run with the Toyota LMP body and Eagle motors, and the local hotshot decided not to race that night. So the rest of us had a fight between us. It was quite a close race. I used a car that I'd used the week before that had been absolutely awful. I had a lot of trouble with the car the previous week, chattering and bouncing and hopping and just being generally not easy to drive. And after the race the previous week, I got into the car and thought, you know, maybe this little modification that I made to this chassis is not working, because I had put two little pieces of wire across the back of the pans resting on the center section so that the pans wouldn't sink below the center section, because those chassis have a lot of movement on them, you know. And so I broke them off and put the car back on quickly, and it was like 3/10 of a second quicker and much easier to drive. So I brought it home and I took it all apart and I made sure it was all nice and flat, and I respaced everything so that the pans wouldn't drag. And I took it back with the same motor, the same gearing, the same body, the same type of tire, just a different pair, starting at the same diameter. And I ran, I think, 9 laps further in the 8 heats than I had done the week before. So it was a lap and a bit per heat better than the previous week. And so I was pretty happy with that.
You showed us that modification you made with the retaining wire.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, that's a cool idea. I should do that. I'm glad I
horrible.
didn't.
It was horrible. But the interesting thing was that I did it on both of my cars, because I have two
Oh,
of those
wow.
chassis. And on the one chassis, I did it with a little piece of 032 wire that was bent double and just soldered on the one side. And the other chassis, I did it with a piece of 062 wire each side. And the 032 wire is a lot better to drive than the 062 wire car. So there's still a little bit of give there, but even so, both of them are much better without it.
Huh.
And then what you do to make sure that the pads don't drag is there's a tube that goes across the back, or a pin that goes across the back. The latest ones just have an 055 wire, like a J bar that's in the JK chassis, and you just space that up with some foam tape until you get to the point where where it's supporting the outside pans but not allowing them to drag. And if you move that tape away from right out at the edge, and you move it a little bit towards the inside of towards the center of the car, then it allows that whole outer pan to rock just a little bit, and that makes it even better.
So how wide do you make your tape usually? You're talking about like 1/4 inch wide, or?
Yeah, about 1/4 inch wide.
Okay.
And then move it in about 1/4 of an inch from the outside, but it's at least 40 thousandths thick to lift it.
This is just my practice car, and it's funny, Dennis, you're talking about that, because if you can see,
yeah, there's taping
down
there.
the edges.
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple turns on our flat track that I actually want the pans are on the track.
Yeah.
And that's
So
what you see
at the front, the pans need to be on the track. But at the rear, it's not such a good idea to have the pans on the track.
But you can see the smudge there.
Yeah,
you
but
can see the smudge.
I see the little smudge at the back. That's not a lot of rub. Let me go and get my car, and I'll show you what I mean by rub.
No, but so when we're flat track racing, the whole deal is to get the car as low as possible, because the only tech on our flexi cars are under the rear axle. Everything else is down as low as we can get it.
All right, I don't know if you can see that, but
it's clean.
Mine rub. This one's quite clean, because the track has just been cleaned, so it doesn't have a lot of rubber on it at the moment. But the front, it's rubbing from the outside tip all the way in to where that first bend is in the chassis. So the whole front, that leading edge of the chassis is dragging. Maybe you could see it with
I see it.
Yeah, you could see the shine on the front. That all is dragging on the track. And then sometimes just the front edges of the pan drag as well.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I found, which is really nice, is this tape that's used to reinforce the pin tubes, where the holes are for the pin tubes. It's what's called spinnaker repair tape, made for repairing spinnakers and parachutes and things like that. Very sticky. It's a very thin woven nylon. You buy it in a roll. It's about 2 inches wide and 15 feet long or something. So I'm going to have enough of it for the rest of my life. But it works really, really well. It's very sticky. As I said, it's very strong and very easy to apply. So that's the car.
So, Dennis, on your flat track, do you like to run the pin tubes, the movable pin tubes?
I moved away from what I was using and put the rattle pin tubes in. I'm not sure. It was at the time when I was trying to get rid of some of that shudder, which I didn't realize was coming from the supports that I had on the back. So I could possibly go back. But what I've always done, as you can see now, all of these, they're all ever so slightly loose, right? So they're all rattle tubes right now on the chassis, front and rear. But what I've often done is I've used solid ones at the rear, and at the front I've had a pin tube right across the chassis that has a little bit of movement in it. And on the Mazzetti chassis, that front hole is oblong anyway, so it can ride up and down a little. And so I would always use a single long piece on the front, with a collar on one end, with a retainer on one side, and a little collar that I made, a little machine collar with a set screw on the other side, so that I could just loosen the set screw and remove the whole thing.
Because I want to, I had pin tubes and I went away from all pin tubes and back to clips.
Oh,
And
yeah, I
I'm
don't like
just,
clips.
but I never experimented with the rattle tubes.
Oh, yeah. If you like the way that the car handled with clips, then you should be using rattle tubes, because that, to my mind, is the only advantage of a clip, is the fact that you can get a bit of movement of the body. I don't like the clips because it's so easy for the rear end to sag.
Yeah.
I can never get enough downforce. When I do my bodies, you can see on the inside of the body there, you can see how there's a big piece of that blue stripe
Bulletproof.
on the
Yeah.
far side, big piece of body armor going right up from the rear pinhole all the way up into the wing, to get some downforce from the wing onto the rear pin tubes. Then
Yeah.
the reinforcements on the back, those are just there to stop that back end folding in if it gets caught on a tire. And then that little piece in the middle there is so that the body generally doesn't do that on the track. This body that has a fin down the middle, they tend to collapse a little bit in the middle. That's why I always leave a couple of millimeters of the back end just to try and stiffen that center section to keep the downforce.
That piece of tape's come off, Dennis.
Yeah, that piece of tape's come off, so that tells you it was working, right? It's been under some pressure. It'll need to be cleaned and restuck. Nice to hear Chris's voice. Hi.
You might want
Yeah,
to
welcome.
revisit the pin tubes as opposed to the clips, Courtney.
Yeah, my only benefit of the clips are, when I'm racing, it can, I can have it off in just a couple of seconds, reflatten the car and put it back on. The pin tubes get a little fiddly for the type of racing I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah.
But you guys know James Merriman. I would really like to beat James heads up. So
yeah,
that's
it's not
something
easy.
I need to revisit.
Not easy.
No.
Yeah. The other thing that I do on these cars that we haven't talked about is I actually glue the gears to the axle. You can see that the gear has basically no hub left. And what I do there is I space everything. I space the gear on the axle where it's supposed to be and mark it. Take the gear off, grind a very small little flat, and then instead of a set screw, I use a 440 aluminum screw, and I position the gear with some of that green bearing or that high retention Loctite. Position the gear with some of that inside it. Get the screw turned, tightened down, and then I actually machine it all off. So it's a much lighter and more balanced setup than the regular gear. I don't bother to go and drill them like like James Cleave and a bunch of the guys do for the Eurosport cars, but I do it this way. Haven't lost one yet.
That is interesting because our rules state that no glued gears.
Okay, your rules, maybe. Yeah, I think.
Well, but if I keep the set screw in it, let's say I machine it down and keep the set screw in it, it's glued and screwed, so to speak. No offense, Greg.
That's one of the things about these LMP classes is I think the rules vary from one raceway to the next, all across the country. And then on top of that, there's a USRA class that's different again to what everybody else is doing. But anyway.
Well, and I think Piranha runs very close to USRA rules, right?
Except that we run the Eagle motors.
Yeah. Okay.
And of course, I'm the only guy running the Mazzetti chassis on the flat track. Everybody else runs JKs. Whereas when we do run the LMP cars on the King track, then everybody uses Mazzettis. but not
Right.
that one. The earlier
Yeah, they
one.
use the light one.
And much lighter pans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's me for today. I need to go because I have a soccer game to watch with my wife. I think it's one of the European soccer games, and I'm off to watch that. So, guys, have a good time. We'll see you next week.
Enjoy the footy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything new with anybody else? How's
I
the
was just
weather?
going to ask, with Dennis talking about over-engineering something. I don't know, maybe you folks are familiar with this, but there was actually an attempt to put brakes on slot cars in the 60s.
Oh yeah. SCX Pro cars had a mechanical brake added to them a while ago too.
And here it is in the package, and it's just, this thing looks huge, first of all. But so there has been sort of an attempt to do this recently or lately, or?
I mean, probably 10 plus years ago, so relatively recently. Uh, I took it out or disabled it because SCX motors have plenty of braking. They don't need more braking with those motors. But as I recall, it was something that actually looked kind of like that. I don't know where that installed, probably on the motor or something. But this was basically some kind of frictional thing that screwed into the back of the pod and like added friction onto the crown gear or something like that. And
As you took off the brakes, it was attached onto the chassis plate. The chassis plate would slide forward and rub this little thing on the surface of the crown gear. But
A little white piece of silicone that was the same angle as the
Yeah.
crown gear. It would,
yeah,
it was more of a
they've had, I mean, John, everybody's tried. Dynamic had them, Classic had them, Cox had them. Everybody went with some type of brakes, but most folks just got rid of them.
I guess there was no real benefit to it.
Well, most of the commercial tracks that we were running on in those days were great big long bank things, and you really just didn't need the added braking and the added weight of all these mechanical things that they came up with. But good for them for coming up with bits and pieces and all kinds of cool stuff.
I just thought with sort of especially home set tracks that are shorter and twistier, if there would be any advantage.
Well, potentially, but with short, twisty home style track straightaways, you never get up enough speed to use brakes anyway. Like it's sort of 6 of 1.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
yep. What he said. All right. I mean, I'm not going to make everybody sit around and come up with things to talk about.
Does anybody
that's
know
okay,
where
but-
you can find
but
the
just get-
scale? I'm sorry. Does anybody know where you can find the sideways white kit instruction kits? Like when you're trying to build it, there's no instructions with these, and I'm like, where's this piece?
Instructions.
Is there anything online, maybe like a PDF or something?
I Googled, but I couldn't find anything. So I'm trying to look at pictures of a completed one. And because I like to use all the parts so I can hold it up over other people when they don't use all the parts.
Was there anything on forums, Jeremy, that could help?
Not a lot. I mean, my Google searches were very limited. But I thought Sideways would have a full website, but they don't have, I can't find a full website for them.
It's uncommon for the white kits to have assembly instructions. I'm trying to remember who was the one that actually provided a full assembly instructions.
Slotted provides instructions, I think, on
Yeah,
theirs, don't they?
Thunder Slot had a video
That's
of it in CAD. That really helped, but I haven't seen anything else.
Or it was
Well, if anybody from Sideways is watching this, shame on you. Do it. Get the website up and running.
I guess I just figure anybody putting together a white kit can figure
Doesn't
it out
care
on
about all the
their
extra
own.
parts.
Well, believe it or not, for model kits, the two most expensive things to make are the instructions and the decals.
Yeah. All right.
As you know, instructions are a pain in the butt to write.
Who needs instructions anyway?
Yeah.
Not us, we're men.
Yeah, that's why you have to reassemble the barbecue you just bought.
Oh shoot, this piece goes on the other way around. Okay, well, you're a bunch of awkward people. I'm going to stop the